Welcome to the Pissed Off Patriot podcast, featuring your host, Ian McFarland.
Hey guys, it's Sunday night, 8 p.m., and we're live on all of the channels here. I've got some very special guests today. Of course, there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today. You know, with everything that's going on, we've been super busy, and I've just been trying to keep up with everything. And my goodness, is it busy. But we're doing a good job, I guess, and so far so good. Pretty happy with that. So my guests tonight are some special individuals that I have a relationship with down here in Jefferson County. And also Mr. Peter Pye from Defiant Munitions. That's the ammunition that we carry in our shop. It's a solid copper hollow point ammunition, and it is fantastic. And so with that, I'm excited because he has decided to join us tonight to talk about some of his new stuff that he is going to be making and some of the stuff coming up in the future that we haven't heard of yet. And then also we can talk about some of the stuff that we actually have out there now that we just put on the shelf this week. And I'm really excited to have him tonight. I'm also really excited to have my first guest, Sue, because she's been actively working very hard for the Jefferson County area in order to kind of expose some of that corruption that I discussed about the health department down here. And we have her on tonight, and she has gotten some headway finally after a year and a couple of months of fighting this nonsense down here. She just got fed up, and she kind of just blew the lid and said, I'm just not stopping until, everything's fixed. And, I don't blame the gal. I mean, I've dealt with the same nonsense, for a long time. And, I'm kind of looking forward to it myself, to see that kind of pop up and happen. So I'm going to bring her on in a few minutes. But before that, I've loaded some new stuff on my songboard. And, of course, let's say a Pledge of Allegiance to Star Spangled Banner, guys, by my favorite artist, Levi, back in 2008. So here it is. That is the national anthem, guys. All right, so let's get back to it. So my first guest is going to be Miss Irby, I guess is her last name. So I am going to contact her real quick, and we'll get her on the phone, and we'll discuss this for y'all. So let me get this turned up a little bit.
Hello?
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. you doing, Ian?
I'm very good. So you're welcome to the show. This is the
Thank you for having me.
This is the Pissed Off Patriot podcast, and we're pissed off people down here in Jefferson County with this health department going kind of nuts. So you and I've talked quite a bit, and I know we're connected through a whole bunch of people, and a lot of these people down here in Jefferson County just don't know how bad things are. So what I wanted to do was, I know you said this week you got some traction and that you were starting to get some answers, and you were starting to get some of the people to actually do something. And that means, as you know, if you're raising enough hell and you're making their life difficult as politicians, then eventually you're going to get progress. And eventually somebody's going to do what they got to do to stop having to hear from you, and also to stop the headaches. And so, like you discussed and I discussed, that one of the plans to get this going is to kind of just rattle everybody's cages until somebody finally does something instead of just posturing. And it just seems like for the last year, you've just had nothing but posturing. Is that correct?
Oh, 100%, Ian. My story, I think, is like most American citizens' story. Back in March of 2020, how we all became appalled at the government's overreach in the name of COVID-19. Closing businesses, requiring people wear masks, now pressuring people to get vaccinated. Ian, I can't tell you how many emails I have sent to federal legislatures, President Trump, Senator Hawley, Roy Blunt, Congressman Luke DeMeyer. No response from them. So then I tried contacting County Executive Gannon, Jefferson County Executive Gannon, the Jefferson County Health Board, and I was getting nowhere there either. So I thought, okay, I'm going to contact my local representatives, Vescovo, and State Senator Whelan. I'm not State Senator Whelan, but Senator Whelan, my local rep.
Correct,
Got nowhere with them, sent them many, many emails. And then I thought, okay, now my next move, I'm going to start filing sunshine law complaints against this health department with Attorney General Eric Schmitt's office.
And let's roll back. So that's in 2019. Is that correct? That you actually started doing this about midway through the year. Is that correct?
Well, actually, it was March of 2020, because January and February 2020 was when the hype was starting about COVID.
Okay, yeah, I take that back. You're right. It would be 2020. I keep thinking we're in 2020. So it would be 2020.
Right.
It's we're in 2021. Okay, so go ahead. Tell the rest of this, because this gets really interesting.
Okay, so from March 2020 all the way to November, I was getting no traction with people that are supposed to serve us, where our tax dollars go. And I thought, okay, well, where can I go from here? So I went to Attorney General Eric Schmitt's office, because this Jefferson County Health Department continued to act deceitfully in their plans to mask up Jeffco. They wanted everyone to wear a mask and shutting down businesses. So this is appalling. It's tyranny. So I contacted the Attorney General's office with many sunshine law complaint violations. One, they never were holding meetings at venues large enough to accommodate the public. And they were just doing more and more deceitful things, changing bylaws in closed session meetings. So I contacted Attorney General Eric Schmitt's office, and I actually started getting somebody to talk to me. Casey Lawrence was a rep with Eric Schmitt's office. And she started talking to me back in November, when finally Kelly Vollmer got her little mask order, the health department director. And so
well, that wasn't really an order. That was kind of a suggestion. The thing is that tyranny only lies behind the people who comply. And we both know that I wouldn't comply. And I know a lot of the people in Jefferson County still wouldn't comply, because a lot of people in Jefferson County aren't brain dead like the ones in most of the St. Louis County area, who believe this was super deadly and you were going to die if you walked outside your front door and didn't hide under your bed or in your closet. So we've been there, done that. And we fought this for almost a year, through the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, through Channel 5, Channel 4, Channel 2, so we understood how big of a publicity stunt this was. And sure, I'm not going to say that this wasn't a virus and that it can affect certain individuals, but I will say that now we're finding out quite a bit about the facts from, people actually doing the homework and exposing it for what it is, that the masks probably did more to hurt people and cause them to get sick than they did to help you. And if you honestly believe that that mask that they give you at the doctor's office prevents COVID, you should read the box, because that's an inaccurate description of what that mask can and will do. So go ahead there, Sue.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. And not only was this health department masking up Jefferson County, they were intimidating school districts. These are guidelines, but you're opening yourself up for liability if you don't follow them, masking up the kids, quarantining them, because they were supposedly exposed to COVID. It was a nightmare. It was terrible. And I thought that I had an ally in Attorney General Eric Schmitt's office. Casey Lawrence kept stringing me along. I kept contacting her. I finally gave up on her in June of this year, because she started siding with the health department in my last conversation. She kept telling me that my cases, my Sunshine Law complaints, were still open cases, as well as the many other Jefferson County citizens' Sunshine Law complaints. They were all still open cases. Well, I got really angry. July 2nd, I called Casey Lawrence and I said, this health department is about to act on bylaws they changed in closed session meetings. I filed a Sunshine Law complaint with you back in March about this, that they did this in November and December of 2020, and in January 2021, the first Jefferson County citizens heard of these bylaw changes was you voting in your January 28th meeting to approve the changes you made behind closed doors.
Yeah, now I know we talked, I had another guy reach out to me named Chris, and he's been very active too. He said that he had placed several sunshine requests for specific expenditures during this. So let me just back up. So here is my perception of most likely what's happened across the entire state. And this affects the entire country. Essentially, I think what happened is Big Pharma got together with the states and said, look, you're going to push this, and we're going to get money from the government, and we're going to make sure that there's backdoor deals everywhere across the country, and that everybody's getting their fair share if everybody plays along and makes this the biggest deal in the world to normal citizens so that they'll believe it. And if you do that, then we'll make sure your hospitals gets extra bonuses of federal money. We'll make sure that your businesses get extra money. We'll make sure that all the businesses are paid for so that they can go along with the master plan. And the people that this thing's really affected is the mom and pop businesses. It's never affected the big corporations. It's stolen the money from the middle class. It's tried to completely turn people to welfare, okay, and a dependent society on the government. And if I had to guess, this sounds like the way to do a test of the smarts of the United States of America, and if we're willing to give up any of our freedoms for the safety versus liberty argument. And I think we failed miserably. And as I was talking to Mark McCloskey, he agrees that we failed miserably the other day when I was at an event. The truth of the matter is this is all about money. There is no big conspiracy here that millions of people are going to die if you don't put a mask on. This is all about control and money. And what they've done is they have driven the dollar to the ground. They have increased inflation about 400% right now. And they have stolen the money from the middle class and given it away in welfare to people who would comply. And in doing so, they're crippling the United States. And then, of course, we have a new administration that is essentially doing everything to destroy the United States that they possibly can. Every person that was party to this, okay, who agreed to it, who sat back and didn't do anything, like I think our own attorney general, are in on the game. They all know that this is a game and that they've all gotten their handshake deal and they don't care. And so what really alerts me, Sue, is that we've got Eric Schmitt's office where he's now running for state U.S. Senate against other parties. And yet he can't even handle his own job here in the state. For instance, it took him, 7 to 10 months to get St. Louis County overturned after he knew that they had way exceeded their boundaries. It took the people of St. Louis County to essentially sue their own board, replace their own board, and take over their own board in order to get rid of the Nazis that were trying to just continue this pattern. This is a very, very sad situation that we have an attorney general who won't even do his job and or follow up on any of these things. And so when Eric Schmitt brought a lawsuit against St. Louis County, they essentially didn't continue their lawsuit. They basically made a handshake deal that he'll open everything back up if he, gives up finally. But he only did it as a showstopper right before he ran for office. And that's kind of sad that he would let these businesses nearly fail, which many, many did, don't get me wrong, in order to profit. And that's what these people have done. And we're still seeing this in the Jefferson County Health Department, where essentially they've taken all these funds from the state and have bought property, millions of dollars worth of vehicles that I think Chris said he still can't get any kind of recognition of what those expenditures were, or provide them any documentation on those expenditures. Last we understand, those vehicles were never even delivered. So where did that money go? And these things were all done behind closed doors without bids, emergency deals,
Right.
We need to have some answers, because it seems like, and don't get me wrong, it seems like there's a lot of good senators and a lot of good Americans that work in our House of Representatives in Missouri. But it also looks like we've got a whole lot of corrupt idiots that are doing this as backdoor deals to make them rich, investing in companies that are getting kickbacks, being party to this, being on the board, pay raises, walking out of the Senate and walking into a cozy job. These are questions we need to look at. And I think this health board down here needs a good audit to find out what's going on with the health department, the health board. And I want you to explain what happened just this week, because they're really afraid that all the people on the board are going to be replaced. And then we're going to fire Kelly Vollmer, which is definitely the plan. Explain that to these people out here in Jefferson County.
Well, that goes back to the bylaws that they changed behind closed doors in November and December.
Explain that.
In those bylaws, Kelly Vollmer, the health department director, became a contracted employee. And I believe she got a 4-year contract as a result. But that decision is based on what are questionable bylaws. And there's a sunshine law complaint against them doing that out there. So, but they did that.
Well, explain that. Explain what you can't do, because apparently people don't understand this, and that's why they're getting away with it. So explain what they cannot do.
Well, closed session meetings, it's very clear as to what warrants a closed session meeting. And Dennis Steele, the chairman of the Jefferson County Health Department, in his email reply to my question, what citation of law did you reference to make the bylaw changes behind closed doors? What made you think that legally that's how it had to be done? He had no answer to me. He could only answer why they changed the bylaws, but not why they were changed behind closed doors. So they have a violation there. Because I don't know the specific points, but I did go over them before I filed my sunshine law complaint against them changing the bylaws. I didn't see any reasoning that's allowable that would allow them to do that behind closed doors. So that's what July 2nd, when I called Casey Lawrence, and I'm like, they can't do this. They're about to do this next week on these bylaws I filed a complaint about. And she said she would present to Eric Schmitt's panel of attorneys all the documents that I gave her, and they would review it. Well, obviously she didn't do anything, because July 6th, they went ahead, according to those bylaws, and censored Susie Davis, an elected board member. And they also gave Kelly Vollmer a contract based on those bylaws that made the health department director a contracted employee. But so Ian, there is still hope, though. I agree with you. I think this was all a plan hiding behind COVID, and it's a path to socialism.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. That certainly is the goal here, I believe.
Well, when I gave up on Casey Lawrence, when she didn't hold up to what she told me July 2nd, I thought, you know what? I'm going to contact the sponsor of that bill 271, Representative John Wieman, that wrote this bill that is now law that limits county health departments and county governments as to their power in pandemics.
Well,
he actually called me back.
There is things that need to be limited for sure, but I think there's a lot that needs to still be investigated. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. But that's what we're getting the ball rolling on. That is what John Wieman is going to help me do, because he had connections with Eric Schmitt's office. He knows Rob Vescovo. And when I called him, he's very passionate about limiting what the government can do, which would go back to all that deceitful actions that you're mentioning, the money under the table and so forth.
Well, these guys are fairly newer representatives, so I know they still have some time left. So making a name for themselves and making sure to, go out there and fight this kind of thing after they've passed this bill is definitely going to be a landmark thing for them to do. So I can see why they'd be behind it. So if you guys are interested in any way, shape, or form, she did provide me the information to contact these people, and it's clearly below all of the podcasts, so you can go in there and you can copy and paste the email address or phone them, and just be aware that if they get a phone call, they know that if you're calling, there's 10 people like you that are upset about it. So the more people that call and make a big deal about what's going on in the Jefferson County region, the more people they know are upset. And if you get, like, say, let's 50 or 60 people calling, they know they got 10,000 people that are upset. So let's make sure to ring them up, make an email. If you take the time to write an email, they know. Give Eric Schmidt's office a call, John Wieman. If you want to contact Paul Wieland, he's a great guy. He's been helping us also. Mike Moon, Shane Roden seems to be interested in fighting and making sure that they're doing things properly. He has in the past. So Shane Roden's another person I would reach out to. Mr. Viscesco is the Speaker of the House. Definitely ring his cage, because he's the leader. He can really make some changes, or when he goes back in, maybe they can get real descriptive with a new bill and really do some things and maybe do a full audit. I think every health department across the state needs to be under investigation for a complete audit of where the money went, especially ours. I think ours is the most corrupt I've seen to date. I don't know, maybe St. Louis County, the executor's office in St. Louis County definitely needs to be investigated. I think our investigation needs to also look at the executive branch, because I think there's a lot of stuff that went on there too. But, the more we look at this and the more we ask questions, the more we get spit back in our face, makes me think something definitely went on, because why would you hide it? Why would you hide it? It's Sunshine requested stuff. We're asking you bought $750,000 worth of vehicles and then gave somebody $50,000 per vehicle to modify them. We asked some very simple questions through that Chris guy. He asked those questions. He said, how many vehicles did you buy? Who did you buy them from? Provide the receipt and invoices for them. How long have they been in service? What have you done, or who did you pay the $50,000 per vehicle to equip, and what did you equip it with? Excuse me. And then how have they been used in any way for COVID at this point? All of this stuff was denied and answered back like, we have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty simple request that he sent me over to look at. And for them to deny any information at all and act like it was not even asked properly, that's just clearly Kelly Vollmer being Stonewall. And clearly there's a reason for that. It's because she's corrupt to the max, guys. There's no other explanation for it. I've just seen her be double-faced. She was the one that was riding around on her motorcycle with her husband when she was telling all of us to be in masks, and she didn't have masks on. So, pretty crazy, right? Go figure.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my gosh. We have pictures of Kelly Vollmer at some community event on September 8th.
Oh, I do remember
Jefferson
that.
County, Yeah, when Jefferson County was in the red zone with COVID numbers, and she didn't have a mask on, and they have a resolution, the health department, that as employees of the health department, they are to wear masks at public events when they are representing the health department.
Oh, of course.
And she didn't even have a mask on at that event, September 8th. It was some community forum thing. But, yeah, do as I say.
Well,
not
she
as I
was shooting
do.
guns with her dad too, and didn't have a mask on, and they were all together in a group and took some videos and posted them out there. I was shared quite a bit of this stuff back before I even started the podcast, and of course we railed her, and we definitely put them out there and shared them all over the place.
Right.
But some of the groups that you go onto on Facebook, and there's some groups that are great groups here in Missouri getting started. That are some 501c organizations getting started. Let's see. So the first one is the Real Republicans group, and they do have a meeting in Jefferson County. I think it's once a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's towards the end of the month. It's usually on a Wednesday or a Thursday evening.
Okay.
Yes, and we're all about vetting candidates,
Mm-hmm.
getting good candidates for local open positions on school boards and county government, and also holding candidates or people that are in office accountable for their actions.
Yeah, that's the
Like
only
Kelly
way to
Balmer.
do it. I mean, if you have people that aren't doing their job and they're completely using the people of their county, they need to go. And you need to get
Right.
somebody in there who doesn't have any special interest, that's doing the work for the people and doing it because they want to, not because somebody paid them or somebody selected them from the good old boys group. So realrepublicans.net is one of the websites, and they also have a Facebook group. They do meet. I have been there before. It's a very good group of people. I will be going again. And then Freedom Warriors is another one. And Freedom Warriors is mostly based out of, I think, the St. Charles region. It was started by a couple of the Allman people, and it has kind of grown and become bigger. They have a big get-together every month at the end of the month. I think it's at the Quarry up at St. Charles. I've been there a couple of times. It's actually where I met Mark McCloskey, and we spoke, and the people are very cool. They're very good people. Come out and see them, Freedom Warriors, towards the end of the month. We the People of Jefferson County is another Facebook group, and that's out there. And then We the People Missouri, We the People of Missouri.org is their actual website. This is started by some folks that I've known for near 20 years. They're extremely constitutional, and they are trying to get real candidates to run who will basically vow to uphold the Constitution only. And that's where a lot of the grassroots stuff comes from. So if you guys are looking to get involved in a school board, you're looking to get involved to run for the EMS board, which may only meet once a month or maybe twice a month, or the county council, or any of these places, okay? Even if you want to run for county executive, and there are some very, very good candidates, I believe, this time that may get involved, and we'll have them on if that's the case. But if you need some help, or you want to get some information or learn how to run, they are a very good group. We the People of Jefferson County, or We the People of Missouri.org is the group. And then Jeffco Patriots is another Facebook page. And let's see here, MissouriStandUp.org is another group of great patriots, And, there's a Protectors of the Constitution is another group that I'm a party to. That's a really good group. A lot of people based in there, and they're all pretty much local to Missouri, but there is a lot of people from all over the country. But so what are we doing at this point, Sue? I mean, what's next? What is your plans next week after rattling some cages this week? What are you thinking you're going to do?
Okay. Well, as I said, I contacted Representative John Weeman, the sponsor of that bill limiting county governments and health departments' powers during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And because I contacted him, and he is very passionate about our rights not being stamped on, our constitutional rights. So because I contacted him, he actually got people to start calling me.
That's
he
good.
Must know people. And he also said, let me connect you. You should contact Senator Moon, who also helped sponsor that bill. He sponsors a part of the bill not banning vaccine passports on public transportation and public services. So I contacted Senator Moon's office also. And like I said, thanks to John Weeman, I'm getting action. So I suggest to people to contact sponsors of bills that are written to limit government powers in your life, because they are passionate people, and they will tell you who to call, your local representatives, and they will even maybe help you get in touch with those representatives like John Weeman did for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he
that's
told
great.
me,
That's the way it
yes,
should be. If you got a problem and you can't get answers, and somebody who wrote a bill is actually willing to reach out and give you a hand, that's a real patriot. That's somebody who cares enough to actually make a difference. And that's the people we need to support, not the ones that just stand up there and talk a good talk but don't do anything when it really comes down. So,
absolutely.
if Eric Schmidt's not going to step up and finally, follow through, I mean, I'm sure he's got millions of these sunshine requests. What the hell is he doing? He has a full team of lawyers, and yet he's not doing a thing. That has to tell you clearly that he has no concern about this last year, this shamdemic. I mean, they ran the numbers up. This thing was so frauded, it was sick. I remember Susie Davis asking them to clarify what their RNA counts, or spinning up RMA counts were, and they just ignored it. They would not even give out that information. She asked to then clarify that, if they were going to provide testing, that it was going to be at this specific limit, which was what the CDC said was the max limit. Of course, they said they wouldn't comply with that or do a vote. So you can tell that this was all just a game in order to create fake panic and fake unrest right before the election. And then after the election, and they did all this games with the election, magically this thing started to disappear until now they're worried about midterms. And then we've got all these variants and this Delta and this legacy and this, I don't know what the other one was. They said a whole bunch, didn't they, over the last week? And so far nobody's getting scared. So now they're getting a little paranoid, right?
Right, exactly. But again, these legislatures that sponsor these bills that want to limit the local government's powers and health departments, they're going to help us. And it's still Eric Schmidt's job. It's still Attorney General Eric Schmidt's job.
He is the top. He is the top person that is supposed to handle these kind of situations 100% and strike down on anyone who is not following the rules and the laws of the sunshine requests, how their meeting structures are, if they're amending things behind closed doors. This is all illegal activities, and anybody who says it isn't is full of poo, and I'll keep it as clean as I can. But they are lying to you. I think they recently passed part of their closed-door meeting that they can remove a duly elected member of the board. Have you ever heard of that before? That somebody can just come along and remove your president of the United States just because they don't like him? I mean, this is where we're at with the health board down here in Jefferson County. So everybody should be riled up and very upset about this. And I hope that some of you will, make your voices heard to the links below. Another thing you could do is show up at the county council meeting once a month. I think it's the first week of the month. Show up there and give them your 2 cents, since this health board is rogue and they are not under the charter. As a group of people who are in control of the county, they can officially bring this under the charter if they want and regulate them. However, they will not do that. They don't think they have the numbers to do that. And now I pretty much know that's the case because of the games that they played over the last month with the county council, which, is astounding, to me. But this is typical Jefferson County politics. So nothing is unusual down here in Jefferson County. The corruption continues.
Oh, absolutely. But we're going to make them accountable, though.
We are.
Because John Wieman is helping me getting representatives riled up. I'm getting Representative Dan Stahl and Representative Becky Ruth, who are Jefferson County representatives. I've contacted their offices.
Yeah, I know Becky Ruth. She actually ran back when I ran in 2010. She was very, very new to politics, and apparently now she's pretty involved, which is wonderful.
Yes, and we're going to get them to descend on Attorney General Eric Schmidt's office.
Well, and further that, what are we going to do next? We're going to make sure that we vote out all these tyrants. Anyone that's involved in this last year of shenanigans, remove them from office and get somebody new. Any judges that allowed these unconstitutional laws in the county to prevail, vote them out of office when there's a selective process to do so. Get a new judge, no matter if they've been in office for 20 years. Get rid of them. Start over. That's the only way you're going to do it. What's that?
Exactly. And that's what these groups are about that you mentioned, the Real Republicans, Missouri Stands Up, We the People. They are about vetting candidates and getting them in there, getting good candidates. There are 3 positions open for the Jefferson County Health Department.
Yeah, we need to fill those next year. We need to get so many people to apply that they have no chance of winning, except for the people one of the persons that we select. And that's kind of the game that we need to go forward with in the school boards and everything, because I think there's a lot of corruption across the board down here in Jefferson County. We need to weasel all these guys out who've been in the Good Old Boys Club for a while, make sure they never come back and ruin them. So, I mean, that's the plan, and I think that there's a lot of strong people woke up down here that are just done with them. I know several particular people that a lot of people want to move out of this county, so hopefully they get that point and get out. And or shut up and go back to their house and don't get involved anymore. Either way, we need good people in there who follow the rules and the law and don't play games. But Sue, I really appreciate you being on tonight. We'll have you on again. I want to find out what's going on in the future, so we'll probably invite you on in another week or two and see if you got any progress. Again, folks, I want you to look at the bottom here of your feed. Look at the links in there. Send a message, call. It may take 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Send a short message. Just say, I don't agree with what's going on down here in Jefferson County. I wish you would step in and take a look at it. I believe it's illegal and unconstitutional, and please help. Something to that effect. Don't cuss. Don't act rude. But just let them know that you're upset and that this is a way big time overreach and that things need to be changed. And that's how you get your voices heard. And then if that doesn't work, show up at a county council meeting and vote, vote with your voice. When you go to vote next time, make sure you vote these clowns out. And we'll go over when it gets close to voting time who we as a show recommend you vote for in our county. Obviously, you don't have to listen to me, but this will be who I would vote for. And maybe my friends will have a couple of them on and we'll discuss who they would vote for. And we'll kind of give you guys a good forum cover for who are the acceptable candidates in Jefferson County. Sue, would you be willing to join me in the future to discuss this again?
Oh, absolutely, because, Ian, I am staying on these people that promised me they would contact Eric Schmitt's office, so I'm going to stay in touch with them, and I will definitely keep you posted. And, Ian, I so appreciate you and this forum, and keep being the awesome patriot that you are.
No problem, Sue. Thanks so much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate your call.
All right, thank you. We'll talk again soon. God bless, Ian.
God bless you. Bye-bye. So, guys, on top of that the We the People group here down here in Jefferson County, I just want to give you a heads up to that group. If you're looking to run for any of these offices, get a hold of a few of the people from that group. They had a wonderful thing where they brought a guy in who helps people win elections. And he sat down for a day, and I think it was a low cost, $40, $20. I can't remember what the cost was exactly. I did it. Unfortunately, I was extremely tired because the night before I was up really, really late dealing with some stuff. But I did get a lot out of the meeting, regardless if I was like 100% in queue. I was able to listen to a lot of what this guy said. I did get a lot from it. And he gave some really good training on how to run as a candidate and how to win and what it means to win and what it means to disturb the status quo. So he gave some good tips on how to rattle cages where you're at if you want something done and get it done. And this guy was really, really good. So if you're interested in any way, shape, or form for running any kind of position in the government down in your county, whether it be here or whether it be, St. Charles or St. Louis or any of those places, reach out to this group. They're a great group of people. They're going to have another one of these soon. I think there was about 30 people in that other group, and they were just normal people like you and me. And they went in there and they got the information that they needed so that if they decide to ever run for an office, that they would be able to do that and not have any issues whatsoever, with understanding what to do. So that's really just awesome. So I'm going to bring my next guest on. I'm going to call him real quick and bring him in. And that is this is Mr. Peter Pye. So for those who don't know who Peter Pye is, okay, Peter Pye is on my phone now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So you are the owner of a really cool ammunition company called
Defiant Munitions.
And what got you into starting a business called Defiant Munitions that did ammunition in this day and age before the whole freak out of COVID?
Well, my family, I was, kind of born into the industry. My family owned Corvon Ammunition. Started that in 1982, and my family since sold the business, and so I, just started the company because I wasn't done in the industry. I had more to offer.
Yeah, I mean, your dad was big. He was the head of Corbine, right? He owned it, operated it, did the whole shebang, and was extremely well known, and made some of the most aggressive defensive rounds, I think, in the history of ammunition. And when you guys decided to start the new company, from what I understand, he kind of helped you get started. Is that correct, or did you do this completely on your own?
No, I did it all on my own. Senior did help me a little bit, and when I did need help, but for the most part, I started this company on my own.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful. Young entrepreneur. I know you work nonstop. You've got your kids working there. I watch your shows sometimes. I've been pretty quiet with you because I just am so busy, but you definitely have a wonderful product. We brought in the store about a year ago, I guess now.
Yeah.
We used to buy a company called Supervel, and I believe your dad was involved in that for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, my dad worked at Supervel with Cameron for a little while, and since parted ways and retired. And that's, yeah.
Yeah, and we used to carry Supervel, and then when like things got tight with COVID, it was just like, oh, guys, sorry, we're going to cut off. So, we came to you and said, hey, we really like your product, and if we can't get product from them, then we're going to bring you in full blast, and we're going to just weed their stuff out, which is kind of what we did, and we're glad we did it because I think you have a lot more to offer as far as quality control, which is one of the biggest things in the field today is, buying ammunition, whether it be loaded by a local guy, loaded by a professional company, or a guy like yourself who is a small business. Quality control just isn't there like it used to be. And we've seen a lot of bad situations, especially with reloaders local, selling ammunition that should not even be sold because it's so dangerous. And we've seen some of the big guys blow guns apart too with overloaded ammunition running through their machines too fast, or they miss something and you get a kaboom, blow people's hands off, possibly their thumb. Sometimes they're lucky. It's just a gun. I've seen pieces of a gun in people's faces. So it's not pretty. I've seen CZ Scorpions completely broken into two pieces. So it's a very, very dangerous thing to play with. So how do you keep your quality control so high?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this industry is not a game.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing around with controlled explosions inches from our face daily, and this just isn't a game.
Mm-hmm.
Ammunition manufacturing is not for everybody, and you need to understand interior and exterior ballistics, just not what you read on the internet. You really need to understand how powder reacts, different types of powder and stuff, and how it burns, how you get peak pressure and stuff. Because, like I said, this isn't a game. You're essentially messing with an explosion that's inches from your face.
Yeah, it's more considered probably a burn, I would assume. Kind of like in a gas engine, it's very similar. It burns, and then thus it pushes the instead of the piston, it pushes the projectile forward. But if you were to have an explosion because of too much powder, yes, you'd have a catastrophe because it would be too much powder and too much pressure inside that shell. So then it has to go somewhere.
Right.
To be straight with you, your dad was part of Sammy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so you've got a lot of background as far as being understanding of the rounds, and plus you've got the encyclopedia that probably is a phone call away if you need to ask questions.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
What a great combination. So, you've done some very interesting things, and folks, I don't want to freak anybody out. You're in Jefferson County here, but there are hogs literally about 20 to 40 minutes from here right now coming up. Okay. And every year they get closer. This year, one of my guys who's a customer of mine, he's an EMS worker, came in the other day. He has property about an hour from us, and there are now hogs on his property this year. I warned him a year ago that we would start seeing hogs soon on his property. He actually started coming in and buying all of your ammunition in 300 Blackout about 6 months ago, and he says he's found 2 or 3 now on his property. But what makes your ammunition different from a traditional hollow point? A lot of people don't get it, and they don't understand what the additional cost involved is. When they come into our shop, some of the guys, after we show them the pictures, we show them, the documentation. We show them some rounds, which we need to talk about that. I want to see if next time you're encapsulating some of these rounds, you can send me like a couple of samples of each of the items that we carry in the store, so that if a customer comes in, I can show it to them. And I was thinking about making like a little CNC machined board that I can put each of the rounds in and like glue them in, so I can have it to show people, because they don't believe me the expansion that these rounds get. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about how your rounds work and what they're made of?
Yeah, so we kind of specialize in solid copper projectiles. We offer 2 lines of ammunition. We offer the TCX line, well, essentially 3 lines, because we offer a TCX line, which stands for total copper expanding, and then we offer that same line in subsonic. So we do a TCX-S for subsonic, and then we offer the DDM line, which is the Defiant defensive match. But really our gold standard is our TCX line. We specialize in solid copper bullets. Solid copper bullets are traditionally extremely expensive to manufacture, and but the upside in it is that these bullets penetrate better, they help hold better weight retention, and their expansion diameters are a lot bigger. Now, there's other solid copper bullets out there that, that their petals, in the way the bullet is designed, I guess plays a big role in, penetration and expansion diameter. But the way we designed our bullets, it gives you, the best penetration expansion diameter. Like our 9115 TCX expands to just under 810 thousandths of expansion.
Now, with that, I just real quick, I want to pause you, because with these, okay, unlike a normal bullet where you have like a wrapper that peels back and you have some lead that kind of rolls back as it hits and it kind of expands the bullet, these actually pedal out, and they have these extremely sharp petals, right? And like a typical 9mm probably what opens up almost an inch, if I remember right. It's like 8 something, right? 800,000.
Right, correct.
So imagine getting hit with a bullet, and as it hits you, it opens up, okay, to near a 3/4 inch bullet that then goes inside and just tears you apart and creates this shock to your body, okay, where you get a wound cavity that opens and then closes quickly. I'll just do the boop like this. And when that happens, that's what causes the arterial damage to your arteries and to your muscle tissue. And where that creates is a way that your body won't be able to quickly heal itself or stop the bleed, and it causes massive bleeding. And so if you get hit with one of these rounds, it's unlike a traditional lead copper jacket at a hollow point, in the sense that it actually transfers more energy to your body and creates a larger wound cavity. And that's very important when you're hunting, especially. We had 2 or 3 customers come in this year. One had an 8-year-old daughter. He brought us pictures, and he says, my 8-year-old daughter took down a deer with your stuff, and I've never seen anything like it. She shot him. It had a 6-inch hole in below the leg into the lung, and the deer dropped in 8 yards. He says, I've never seen anything like it. One shot, dead in 8 yards. We didn't have to track it. We didn't have to run after it. He came in and he bought another 2 boxes. He says, I'm a believer. He came back another week later, and he says, she got another one, and that one dropped immediately. Now, I don't hunt, but I hear a lot of the stories, okay? I hear all the stories about guys shooting 300 blackout, and then they walk 5 miles to find the deer. Because it doesn't kill the deer. It wounds them, but it's not enough to kill the deer and put him out of his misery. So that deer is walking around bleeding internally, not enough to kill it, but enough to kill it over time. And that's, if you're hunting, it's kind of cruelty, not to use the proper designed ammunition to kill an animal properly so it doesn't have to suffer. So it's one thing I really think that's great about your rounds is you develop them to have maximum expansion, maximum wound cavity, and create maximum damage quickly so that the animal doesn't suffer and perishes quickly, so that you can recover the prey. It doesn't get away, and you can then take it to eat or whatever you would do. But these in a defensive situation are ungodly. I mean, we've got 300 blackout in the shop that nearly opens up to, what is it, like 1 3/4 inch upon impact? Yeah. And now we got AK rounds that do the same. I mean, we have a lot of guys from the city are buying those, and they're like, holy cow, this is the neatest stuff ever. I won't tell my buddies about it. And we're like, no, tell your buddies,
Yeah.
Clearly for self-defense rounds, this is immensely crazy stuff. And then you just recently did a 30-06 in TCX, which hasn't been as big a seller, but I could see how it could be. And that's an amazing round for like if you have an M1 Grand, you know?
Right. Yeah, and I think, you know, once we get closer to hunting season, you know, the 30-06 will sell. I mean, we wanted to have it available so people can start putting in their hunting rifles and stuff. We also offer 308 now as well. And
now that's what I was going to talk to you about, but I was going to creep up on it, and you kind of gave it away too fast.
Right.
So the 308, you just came out with 308. We actually have some in our shop, subsonic and sonic. And tell us about the subsonic, which is unusual to make a subsonic that actually works, but yours works. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So probably about 12 years ago, I was approached to do a project with the United States Marine Corps to develop a subsonic round in 308 and 338 Papua. Nobody, to my knowledge, has been able to make a true subsonic round without any filler to use a powder that fills the case, you know, so you don't, so there's no danger of primer skip or anything like that. And I guess what for you know listeners, what primer skip is where when you lay the cartridge, you know, in the chamber, it's laying sideways, laying down, so there's not very much powder in there. Most people, you know, subsonic rounds only have a few grains of powder, and when the primer ignites, it jumps over the powder and reverse burns it. So it actually burns it all at the same time instead of burning it from the back to the front, from the rear to the front.
Yeah, I mean, I've shot a couple from a really reputable, I forget the name of it. They come in a red box in my MRAD with my OSS suppressor. And it was incredible how quiet it was, but it had no energy at all. And so if you're shooting a traditional round, it's like, what's the point, you know? But with yours, there's an advantage. Tell us what that advantage is.
The advantage to the subsonic?
Yeah, you created yours to open differently and make sure that you got full expansion and so forth and so on. So explain that to us, because that's something that's really unique about your round.
So the biggest inherent problem with subsonic ammunition is the bullets don't expand, or if they do expand, it's at such close range because the velocity drops so severely with, you know, subsonic ammunition. Most bullets don't expand, or if they do, it's very minimal. We designed bullets and design loads to where they'll, you know, get full expansion down to about 600 feet per second and still perform. So they could be used for hunting, for hog hunting or self-defense or anything like that. Because there are a lot of people that are using subsonic rounds for hunting hogs and for self-defense inside the home. And so I wanted to be able to offer a true subsonic round that performs well in the hunting environment and self-defense environment.
So with your subsonic, it opens up to what, about 1.5 inches also, or is it slightly smaller? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's well over 1 inch.
And what is your speed you're seeing out of it to where, like, when you notice drastic bullet drop reduction or you know, maximum bullet drop to the round, like what's your efficiency range on that subsonic 308?
You know, I would say 300 yards is probably about it. It's you really shouldn't be shooting, you know, too much further you know, past that.
Right. The only downfall is you can't put it in an AR-10 and shoot it semi-automatic because it doesn't have enough recoil. But but it is cool if you have a bolt action. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's very hard to get subsonic ammunition to function out of an AR-10 or even an AR-15 because you just don't have the pressure spike. You know, and the bolts are so heavy in the AR-15 and AR-10. You just don't have enough bolt thrust.
Now, you also make a subsonic in the AK round and in the 300 blackout round. What made you do those?
You know, again, I found like a big need for you know, a subsonic round in those calibers, and you know, like I said, a lot of people hunt with them, and you know, they just shoot them out of fun, and I wanted to offer true, you know, subsonic ammunition that, you know, that could be used for self-defense as well in, you know, just about every cartridge that we can, you know, offer it in.
Yeah, I mean, with suppressors being as popular as they are today, I mean, it's almost pathetic. But I think you're about the only company besides Brown Bear, I think, recently released some subsonic 7.6239 finally. But
Uh-huh.
prior to that, I don't think I've ever seen it. Except for
Yeah,
like through a
it's
real specialty company.
right. It sold out relatively quick for us, and now with now with now with everything going on, it's very hard to get with primers and everything. We'll be bringing back the 7.62 by 39 subsonic here soon, and we're in production right now for our full power PCX 7.62 by 39.
Yeah, now we've got some both in the store. We bought a lot before from you
Uh-huh.
guys, so we still have some.
Mhm.
So if anybody's interested
Mhm.
in checking out a box of this stuff, we do have every brand or every one of the rounds that he makes in stock right now. I think the only thing we don't have is that 338, but that was kind of a specialty round and it wasn't a TCX, so we were kind of like, yeah, we'll just wait till maybe he does a
Right.
TCX. But
Right.
it's the real cool thing is you even have a subsonic 9. And your subsonic 9, unlike others, actually expands properly. So tell everybody what you did differently on yours that makes it do that.
Yeah. So again, we offered a subsonic. I wanted to create the ultimate subgun load um, for MP5s or anything out there. There's definitely a big spike in subgun loads, and I wanted to offer a load that that performed really well in subsonic. So we offer 135 grain TCS for subsonic in the 9. It does 975 out of a Glock 17, and it also performs. I performs really well out of like a 10-inch barrel, and
Mhm.
that's why I made it 975 out of a Glock 17, which is essentially a 4.5-inch barrel. I wanted it to be able to perform well out of everything and make it the ultimate subgun load,
And you
which
developed that
you know
round to do almost what 15 inches of penetration, is that correct? And still full flower?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it penetrates about 14, 15 inches of penetration, and crazy enough, it's out outperforming some people's full power plus P solid copper loads. I won't mention any names, but the people that have tested it against uh, other people's, it's outperformed
Yeah, you got
non
a really
subsonic
cool
rounds.
cut to it. And I was, being a machinist, doing that as a part-time hobby, I understand how you make your rounds. So I was really interested the other day when I was talking to my buddy about how your rounds were made, and I was like, oh yeah, he holds it in the lathe feed. It comes out, they cut it, they cut it almost like a square, and then they encapsulate it with a die, to bring that
Uh-huh.
flour together tight and give a nice tight face to it, which unlike some of the other solid copper hollow points that have this huge hole in them, yours pretty much feed everything from what I've seen. Even some of these real super small micro compact stuff, we've seen no issues with them. The only one I've ever seen an issue with is the Taurus, but we've actually seen that the new Tauruses that are coming actually have a little bit more relief in the neck and the throat of the barrel. So that was kind of like on the PT 111 side, I think. The newer
Uh-huh.
versions, we're not seeing that issue, but that's pretty inherent with a lot of rounds. It's not just yours; it's just the way they had short stroke
Yeah.
that neck on that for some reason on that ramp. But
Right.
we've been really happy with your product, and we sold so much of it for a long period of time there that we sold out, and we sold out so bad that with your problems with getting primers and so forth, what a headache, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It has been a headache, and you guys have sold a lot of my product, and I'm very fortunate to have you guys' business.
Oh, we
And
love we love
it's been
people
a
who do products that are actually great products, and you
yeah.
stand behind it, and you don't forget the little guy when things get tight, and that's really something that makes you stand out from the rest. Is that when COVID hit and things were tight, unlike some of
Yeah.
our other people, they just said, hey, we don't have any product for you. You always came through, even if it was a half a case or a case, but we've been very
Yeah.
fortunate to be able to have a great
Yeah.
relationship with
I
you
mean,
guys.
yeah. I mean, listen, I'm a blue collar guy. And all the customers. Without you guys, I wouldn't be anything. And I'm very fortunate to bring you guys, my ideas and stuff that I think make the industry great. And yeah, it's important to me. I'm not like any other ammunition company. Joe Blow customer can call me right now on my cell phone at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, and I'll talk to him. I'm not going to push you off or ignore anybody, and I think that's important, and I'll never change. That'll always be the way I will be. This is the way I'll always run this company, and it'll always be like that.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. 14 years in business this year. Been extremely blessed. Just an amazing thing. I don't know if you know, but I'm an actual failure at life. I was a high school dropout. Not really a failure at life, but I just did things different.
Yeah.
And look, anybody can do it. I don't know your background, but you started a business and you're doing it, and you're extremely successful. And why? I think most of the time people are extremely successful because they actually put their full weight behind what they're doing, instead of those that just kind of sit back and hope that it all makes money because they threw money at it. That's not the way you make money. So congratulations to you, man. That's tremendous. I've watched you for 2 years now just turn a dream into just a locomotive going full steam forward, and it's very impressive. I'm very proud of you, man.
Yeah, I am. I've been very blessed to have a strong family, that supports me and stuff, and without like my customers and my family and stuff, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Nothing was really given to me. I busted my ass to build this company, to what it is today, and yeah, it's been great.
That's wonderful. Hey, so have you seen the new LCP Max that just came out?
I don't have one yet, but I have seen one, and I'm not super familiar with it, but I have seen one, yeah.
Okay, did you actually handle it, or did you just see it like pictures?
No, I just seen pictures of it. I haven't had a chance to handle it yet.
Well, I got one in the shop last week, and that's a winner, dude. That thing.
Is it?
Yeah, the Ruger Max 9 was horrible. I mean, I was like, why did they even put this out at this point? You know what I mean? But this gun, you need to get some 380 on the shelf, and if you can do that, you're going to own the market right now, because this gun is hot, and once it gets out there and there's enough of them produced, which Ruger, they'll put them out so much that in a month they'll be giving them away for free. It's going to be huge. It's a 10 and 12 round LCP. It's essentially the same exact size as the LCP, but the grip is just slightly swelled over the factory grip with that big bump on the back of the LCP2. And it's got a night sight on the front. You can change the sights. The trigger's the same. The slide's the same. The barrel's the same. Spring's the same. But the magazine is a true double stack to single throat, kind of like the Smith & Wesson mag is in the new Shield. And man, it's a neat little gun, man. It is so small. I mean, you can put it in the pocket of a shorts and carry it around, no problem. And you wouldn't have to worry about it going off. Yet you have the firepower there to take down, a couple of threats easy. So I think that's going to be a big one for you. So what's new? What's the news on the front? Are you going to give us any tips of what's coming up and what your next releases are as far as new product? Or are you going to keep that on the DL?
No, yeah, we're trying to, innovate and come out with new cartridges every day. Like I said, our biggest problem is getting primers.
Yeah, so talk about that. What's up with the primer thing? Because everybody thinks that this is like suddenly everything's going to go down in price, and obviously it has gone down some, because I think we were selling 9 for like around $37 a box a couple months ago, and now it's about 27, 28, somewhere in there, up to 30. Seems like Winchester's really pushing the price up for some reason. I'm not sure what the deal is, and obviously you don't want to talk about that because that's bad for business. But what are you seeing as far as the primers and the availability of cartridges? Because people think this is just going to come back overnight, and I keep telling them, dude, I'm not seeing shipments of 9. Once I'm out of these cases of this check ammo, we may not get any again for months. I don't know. So tell me, what are you seeing on your side?
Yeah, I mean, primers have been a standstill for a while. They were, I would say about 2 months ago, they were flowing in very little, just little numbers and stuff like that. And I'd say probably 3 months ago, it completely stopped. We haven't seen any primers. We have no time on, when anything's coming in. And, thankfully, I've been in this industry so long that I've seen this coming, and I was able to buy, a bunch of primers. But, even my stock is, we're running dangerously low. And primers have been tough to get, and I think they're going to be continuing tough to get for at least the rest of this year.
Do you think this is a game that the big guys are playing in order to keep ammunition prices high in order to pay off their recent investments, or what are your? I mean, I'm not naming names, but what are your opinions?
I mean, I'm not too big into conspiracies, but yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. I mean,
kind of seems that way to me too.
I kind of, if I was a manufacturer, manufactured, almost 100% of my products, I certainly wouldn't be selling them to other people.
Exactly. I mean, the one thing that really makes me kind of think that is the case is I don't know if you remember when, ammunition just dried up, right? Well, think about who was the first places to throw ammunition up on their actual factory websites, which they've never done in the history of selling ammunition sold to the public directly, right?
Right.
But all of a sudden, no one was selling to the distributors. They were all selling on their websites, grabbing $30, $38 a box for ammunition, and people were willing to pay it. So they kind of figured out that if they continue to make it hardship on everybody to get product, that they can continue to make a lot of money to pay for recent acquisitions that they've made, and thus kind of keep everybody stressed for ammunition. Currently, the market's down a little bit, thank God, so it's starting to bring the pricing down, but I don't think that this low price that it's at today is going to last. I definitely think it's coming back up sooner than it goes down. I mean, what's your opinion there?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you, and that's what I keep telling everybody. I get a lot of questions every day, exactly what you're talking about, and I feel exactly the same way as you.
Yeah,
it's going to be here for a while. And
I wouldn't be surprised by the end of summer if we see a $5 spike on ammunition again, on like 9mm going back up another $5, for 4 to 6 months through winter, and then in the summertime, kind of maybe finally relaxing as people are chilling. But with the current state of the United States and people just still thinking that. I mean, I had a guy in the other day who was an actual federal agent and telling me that he doesn't think we're going to have 6 months before the shit hits the fan in the cities or the counties and people just are fed up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I do see it going that way eventually.
Yeah. I hate to say that, but that seems scary to me that that's where we're at. I mean, I grew up in a day and age. I'm 45, so I grew up in the day and age where, we went through these great days where everybody still watched TV and had great pride in their country, and it seems like that's gone down the shitter, and nobody gives two shits about each other or being friends. If you're a different color than the other guy, then you're the enemy. It's really a sad thing, and we got to remember we're all in it together here in the United States, and we are the actual government. The government doesn't own us and doesn't control us, so if we don't like the government and we can all get along, we definitely have a huge voice and we can take that back, and that's hopefully what people will do in a responsible way, of course. But
and it's fairly easy. I mean, people just need to be nice.
They need to be nice, and if they don't like what's going on, do something about it. Go run for an office and take that power back.
Right.
Put it back in your hands. So that's what we kind of do here is we discussed that position. I don't know if you listened to the show pre to calling you, but we talked to a local lady who's getting real busy contacting everybody to make sure they're all on notice that they know they're in on it, and trying to get somebody to finally say, I'm not going to get caught with my pants down, and take the initiative to finally do something. So, I know in South Dakota, you guys all just don't do anything except party and have the American flag hanging everywhere. So it's not the same thing, but we got some crazy ones down here.
Yeah, I bet you do. So we're pretty Second Amendment strong here in South Dakota, and things tend to keep relatively quiet.
That's good. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I need to come out there soon and take a tour or something. Maybe I'll come up one weekend and you can show me around. And
that'd be great.
We can play with some guns. I'll bring a couple things, and you can bring a couple things, and we'll see who has more fun.
Yeah, that would be great. Absolutely.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And did you want to tell us anything about future releases, or are you going to hang on to that for right now?
No, we're trying to come out with new stuff. We'll be coming out with 450 Bushmaster, 458 SOCOM, stuff like that soon. I'd like to release 380, but primers and brass are a problem, like we talked about.
Yeah.
But just everybody needs to stay tuned. If you're not a part of our social media on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, please, like that. I do releases, and I obviously keep you guys, in tune to, what we got coming in and what's coming up. So, but yeah, we have a bunch of new stuff coming out in the near future, and yeah, we're anxious to show you guys.
Well, I can't wait to see the 458 Bushmaster. I've got an ACR that I converted to shoot 458 Bushmaster subsonic. So hopefully we can get some like 500 grain,
cool,
really wicked stuff from you, and I can take it out and shoot some watermelons or something and show it off.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Hey, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know if you got the message, but I'm a big 22 TCM fan. And I know that TCM's kind of dying off. It seems like the company Arms Corps is kind of going over to this 9R and kind of switching everything to it, since all the TCM guns will shoot a 9R anyway. And man, if you could make a solid copper hollow point, 39 grain ball nosed, TCM 9R.
Yeah.
I know right now you'd have a ton of business on it, because there is a ton of people that can't find ammunition right now, and the casings are everywhere, but you can't find the ammunition.
Yeah, it's something that we've been talking about.
Even in small batches, just to see how it does. That might be really cool. Just saying. My position.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We've actually gotten quite a bit of calls about it. It's something that I'm willing to look at. And, if we have a market for it, we'll definitely look at doing it.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of customers that have that, including my friend Bob has one of those guns, those map pistols. And while it's a cheap pistol, I talked him into buying it. He was kind of like, I don't know. I'm not so sure I'd be interested in it. And he finally bought it because it was just cheap. It was like $350 or something. And then he bought it. He bought 2 boxes of ammo, and he went home and he shot it. He comes back, goes, Ian, that's the coolest gun I've owned. That's neat. And then another day he comes in and he buys another like half a case of it. And he just says, I shoot that all the time. I love it. It's one of the most fun guns to shoot.
Awesome.
And it's super easy to shoot, but we have a, do you have a Boberg or a Bond Arms bullpup?
I don't.
Okay. Well, you need to be on the hunt for one, because I have a 22 TCM 9R barrel I've made for it. I have about 100 pieces done. I just need to finish a couple things on them and send them to Melanite, and we're going to probably release them within the next 6 months. And that's a really neat piece. Even though it's tiny, it's definitely a really cool piece because of it has no recoil. And it's so small, and the extractor system is neat, how it works. But check that gun out. It's called a Bond Arms bullpup or a Boberg XR9S. So,
cool. No, I will check that out.
Yeah,
No
I think it's one that you'd think is pretty neat, especially with a 9R. But, hey, man, absolutely. It's great to have you on. I really appreciate you joining me tonight, man. We're going to have you on again. So let me know when you get close to getting another release. And, we'll go from there. We'll put you on. We'll talk about it. But so you guys understand, we got the 308 TCX in subsonic and in sonic right now. And you said 600 feet per second, 650 feet per second, full expansion, 300 yard maximum. Yep. You could shoot that out of your suppressor. There isn't anything on the market like it. So if you're looking for a subsonic 308 for your bolt gun, and you're getting ready to do like a 6.5 too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're about ready to release 6.5 Creedmoor as well.
Wow.
130 grain TCX.
Doing a subsonic in that one too, or just full sonic?
No, just supersonic, yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, there you go, guys. You need a 300, you need a 308 and a 300 blackout and an AK with a suppressor. And then you need some Defiant munitions ammunition. And then you got your gun for the bed, the side of the bed. And you get some Defiant munitions for that too. So anyway, Peter, appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much for coming tonight.
Absolutely.
And we'll have you on next time, man. What's that?
Awesome. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Nice meeting you, by the way, finally.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely. You guys have a good night.
You too, buddy. So that was Peter Pye from Defiant Munitions. We carry his ammunition in the shop. It is exclusive to St. Louis through Peter Pye and Defiant Munitions. We are the only dealer in St. Louis that has it and the ability to get it. So I'm very thankful for that. If you're looking for that really awesome defense round that nobody else sells or makes, come on in and take a look at this stuff. It is the best ammo on the market. And actually, there's some YouTube videos that were done like over the last year where they did tests of like almost 15 or 17 different defensive ammunitions, and Defiant Munitions ranked the highest. It was the absolute best defensive ammunition on the market. So guys, blessed to have them in our store. If you're looking for that, come out and see us. We got it for the AK-47, subsonic and sonic. We have a 30-06 TCX, I got a couple of those left. That's a really wicked round for hunting. So if you're looking for that, that would be an awesome attachment to your gun. You don't need that high dollar Remington stuff. Come get some of this. You won't even have a problem with it. We also have a 300 Blackout Sonic and Subsonic. We have 308 Sonic and Subsonic now. We have their Corbon, basically original regular hollow points. Okay, so that's their regular. I think it's called Defiant Match hollow points or something like that. But they are essentially a duplication of the original Corbon hollow point. And then we also have the TCX in Sonic, and then we have the TCX in Subsonic, both of them in 9. We sell so much of that, guys, that it's ridiculous. We've had a lot of good feedback from people with it. Some people have done tests. Of course, the Subsonic and the 300 Blackout, they have done a bunch of tests, obviously with hogs around town. Lots of different stuff. AK guys shooting the AKs, and we're shooting watermelons and cantaloupes, and they just said it was incredible, the destruction that those rounds cause to that. So if you guys are looking for really neat ammunition for hunting season coming up or for self-defense, that's some of the stuff that we carry at Modern Weapon Systems down here next to Chuck's Boots in Fenton, Missouri. So tonight has been a wonderful show, and I really appreciate everybody joining me tonight. I'm thankful for your patronage and your time to listen to the show. We do continue to do this show every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. The only exception was the night I did that rally with Mark McCloskey. Unfortunately, my system was goofing up and I couldn't do it. So unfortunately, I had to wait, and we did it, I think it was the next week. Because of the holiday, I did it on the next day, which was the 5th of July, instead of the 4th, because you guys would have been watching fireworks. So other than that, I wanted to speak about some of my friends who run businesses local, and if you have a job for them, please support them. And that's Brad Evans Flooring. Evans Flooring. It's out of High Ridge, Missouri. Brad Evans is a wonderful guy, entrepreneur, has been in business, I think, for almost 12 years also. And Brad has done some work at our shop at my home. Love Brad's work. His guys are good. No issues. Jeffco Siding did the siding on my house. Wonderful place to go to get your siding done for your house. Most professional guys I've ever had work on my property. And I'm very, very paranoid when people work on my property. But the guys at Jeffco Siding were just so professional, I couldn't believe it. I was extremely happy that they did my work. And none of these people are paying me to plug them right now. They're just people that I've dealt with that I've been extremely happy with. Aaron Diablo Ink Tattoos and his girlfriend Kat, wonderful tattoo artist down here in High Ridge. It's hard to get a good tattoo artist that has their head on straight and is straight shooter and does wonderful things and is a strong Second Amendment supporter. Both of them are. So I highly recommend you go support them too. Aaron is a big collector of military collectibles and things like that. He has a vast information pool on World War II Nazi stuff. He's into that big time. So if you ever had questions about any of those kind of things or the era or collectability kind of things, that might be a guy to talk to. He also is a wonderful tattoo artist with many, many years of experience. Omega Fencing Solutions is another guy I've been friends with, and he's been a customer of mine for a little over, 3 years now. And he started a business recently doing his own fencing work. He's a wonderful guy. He does excellent work. He is a hard worker, does the job, gets it done, no hee-haw or any kind of baloney, in and out, and takes care of any of your fencing needs. So Omega Fencing Solutions, Anthony Sansone, if you need that kind of work. Come down here to Chuck's Boots and my Chuck's Boots Plaza, spend some money, buy some boots from Sean. Sean's a great guy, great supporter of the Patriots. Just is a great overall person. Started that Chuck's Boots years ago as an employee and then bought the company here within the last 10 years, really turned it around and is doing just a wonderful job. Him and his wife have been a Patriot, and they've come into our store several times and purchased from us. Their fathers have. Just great guys. And we did some great engraving work for Sean for his birthday. His wife surprised him and just was really, really tickled to death with how that turned out. So thank you, Sean, for that business. And I'm trying to pass some business back your way for Chuck's Boots up here at Fenton, Missouri. It's in our St. Plaza as we are. Let's see. Well, it's been a long day. I've I went to the car show this morning out there at the is the European Auto Show. They moved it down to the mini lot down here on Hanley, near 44 in Hanley. And previous years it was like at Frontenac and it was at Chesterfield. And I think this year it had the best turnout I've ever seen of this show. But my God, there's some beautiful cars out there. I don't know if you've ever seen a Bugatti Chiron, but there was actually one there, complete carbon fiber body in blue. It was the most beautiful car I've ever seen in my life. Of course, I'll never be able to afford one, $1.7 million plus or something to that effect. No, those might actually be around $3 million, but insane amount of money. Tons of Lamborghinis in this area, which is surprising. Few R8s, a ton of Lotuses, Porsches. It was a really neat event. You got to see a lot of nice cars and a lot of really nice people. So, you know, that's something to watch for next year if you haven't gone in a long time or ever. You know, you might like that kind of thing, getting to see some of these cars up close and get to look at them, talk to the people. And what was funny is actually Mark McCloskey was there and came right up to me and said, Ian, how you doing? And I said, hey, man, what's going on? And he says, we're over here hanging out. You know, we just came up to see everybody. And I just stood there. We talked to them for quite a while. So some great people, down to earth. They talked to all these guys out there the whole day. It was really neat. And then, of course, you know, I saw my friend Nick from the Auto Spa, AAG Auto Spa, and him and I chatted for a little while. So nice guy there too, good customer of ours over the years, and just a lot of great little businesses that were out there today, showing up to just support the car community. So my friend who owns a Cars and Coffee group was there. I saw him, but I didn't get to say hi. He was working the group. But you know, he was out there too. And what a great group of people, you know, just to hang out and have a good time. And then, you know, I just came home and my kid was up all night and hanging out with friends. And I don't know, I just watched a movie and vegged out today, but I had a really nice, relaxing day. I don't normally do that. It was really cool. And now I got to work from like the rest of the night, midnight, maybe doing some stuff. I'm behind a little bit on some book work, but guys, I really appreciate you joining me. What a blessed day it's been. This is a great pleasure to be able to do this for you guys. I hope some information that I gave you helps out in getting you some information. Thank you for Defiant Munitions, Peter Pye coming on, Sue for coming on from Jefferson County. What a great bunch of people. And I hope to try to find some really good people for next week. I want to have some special guests on. So I'm going to work real hard this week to try to find somebody that I think you might enjoy hearing. And we'll get them on and we'll talk and we'll go from there. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I hope you have a great weekend. I'm signing out. Take care.